And here we are. So, after the last episode was when we talked with David and you together about the kind of, you guys call it showcase build, but it's not really a showcase build. It's actually
more
kind
a
of
benchmark.
It's a benchmark
Yes.
of everything that the game can show and tell.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And so this is where we are in the alpha process. We are kind of in the middle of the alpha test, right? Like there is going to be another alpha test down the line, but now you guys are pushing it to the limit.
Yeah, of course.
So let us begin by just showing what is actually happening here. A Star is the name of the team that you guys are calling yourselves inside of Next Studios, so that is pretty cool. And yeah, one of the things to remember is that all of the footage is fully rendered in game. There is no sorcery here.
No, uncut. It's the uncut version also.
Right. And this would be kind of an intro cinematic before you begin a match, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And so
what we can see here, if we pause.
Yeah.
So first of all, on the vista of the whole scene, and even the fog, the lighting, we did a lot of work like behind the scene to make sure that the fidelity is there, and also like really showcase the quality we wanna bring, not only the textures, the model, but even the mood and the atmosphere.
Right.
And that is in going a long way in terms of bringing up the quality. The second thing is, if you see here, we ramp up the feeling of post-apocalypse, and also added a lot of, we call it nano-res of the environment, because nano is a big thing, right? The enemy is nanos, and this whole world into because of this kind of nano thing. Right. And can I say the word?
You can.
Okay. And I think that is a pretty unique aspect, and also the visual language that we want to see in this game have the identity to its look.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we also felt like as a playtesters, myself as a player, I felt that you have all of these nanos around you running around. Yeah. And they clearly did something to the world, but the world didn't really seem to react to it. So it's a good thing that there's a lot of flavor to it now.
Oh yeah, exactly. So if you keep playing, and we can see not only the birds, those are make sure that the environment is very live, and even some windy effect with the umbrella
conditions.
Yes, and also we added some armband signal on the arm, so that later on you will see even more clearer that the flare there that just give you the signal of what's going on in the world. And as you can see that the world is looks more chaotic, and those are also the environment layers that we are ramping up. Not only the nano-res elements, but also like the vegetations, the foliage, what's gonna happen, right?
The vines are obviously grown over the walls.
Exactly. And this is another thing that we want to point out, that the environment will have a lot of storytelling. Yep. That a lot of tattoo been putting in the scene, that really not only the quality again, but also like telling the story of what this place is, and what the attitude of the survivor towards some of those environments.
Right. When you say tattoos, we also refer to the terminology
graffiti.
of graffiti, but it is a tattoo on the world.
Yes.
It is a permanent mark of the people living in the world and making like a permanent change to it. Yeah. And that's something in a way that's actually pretty unique.
Yeah.
So
So if you keep rolling.
Right.
Again, the whole environment looks much sharper, and that's animals that we want to bring to the game. So later on in the build, when you play, there will be wild animals here and there, and we don't want you to shoot them. A couple of things that the shooting animal is not good. Second thing is the whole purpose of that is just to bring the life to the environment.
So
because we don't have this kind of a hunting or looting mechanics. That's not the game is about. So why we want there to do that, right? So, but again, when you're in the environment and seeing those wild animals, that you know that this world is not a complete dead situation. Right. There's still things going on.
And there is also potential for further storytelling down the line.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So. Wind is amazing this time.
Yeah, the wind. We did a lot of work there, and
we did interview with the artist.
And here comes the shuttle.
Yeah. Which also changes the wind.
It will change the wind, and not only that, some of the flower petal you see.
Yeah.
The flower petal is gonna start to fly around based on the direction of where the wind is gonna drive us. And again,
trees are infected.
Exactly, more nano-res elements. And
your armband is flaring up.
Exactly. The armband is glowing yellow.
Yeah.
Tell you that okay, there's some dangerous, but not that dangerous. There's some regular nanos.
Yeah. So you take them down. The armband is back to normal.
Yeah. And here comes the first core chip.
Yeah.
Again, the whole wild environment have a lot of variations in terms of the foliage and the different rocks, and again, the whole quality of the environment will be at this level.
To this level, yeah.
Yes.
So players shouldn't expect anything be like under this kind of quality.
Exactly,
right?
and here comes the deer again.
Exactly, this is storytelling part.
Yes,
right?
and the deer will be nano-res, because it's being killed by the nanos.
Yeah. The infection is spreading pretty fast, though.
I know.
Pretty cool.
And here I want to just point out that there's one major element that on the top of the sky.
Right.
That is basically the Shinar station. And one of the questions, a lot of players was asking, like, okay, where do these survivors go? After they boarded the shuttle, that is where they're gonna go.
Okay.
Because there's a huge background story of what is the world really about, and there is a about world, if I may, in the Shinar station that people will be there, and there will be more story going on in the future. I won't talk too much yet.
Right.
And for the people who live down Earth, they can still see the small tip of this Shinar station, hanging on the sky.
That is so fascinating, because we were talking about this, right?
Yeah.
Like the first time I ever played Synced in my life was my first question was, where does the shuttle go? And it's kind of interesting that Clark and the team obviously decided to just answer the question right here, right? Like here where it is going, right?
Exactly.
What happens next? We don't know, but this is the physical location, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
there'll be a lot of
course.
stuff will be unveiled.
Right, but the idea is that players can identify the location, and that's the end goal. Right?
Yes,
the shuttle is not actually the end goal. This is the end goal.
Exactly, and also that another thing we want to point out from the visual standpoint is all the clouds. The clouds have the depth, and also is basically a actual clouds.
Yes.
In the sky.
Yes, we talked about this with the visual effect team.
Yeah.
We had one episode dedicated to the clouds. They actually showed us the kind of volumetric sort of way how they actually are being generated.
Yeah.
The weather is actually being generated on the fly, which is amazing. So that is really also something.
Talk about the weather, and if you notice that just like a couple minutes ago, it's still sunshine, everything.
Yeah.
Now it's cloudy.
Right.
So because the whole weathering system can change during the play.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And again, more elements on the nano-res, and here will come a combat situation with nano and AED. And this is our reviver, and some of you might know, the reviver will be able to summon more nanos. And okay, by the way, you see the red flare?
Yes.
So it's a more dangerous situation.
Yep.
And when the reviver initiates some attack, the whole environment will become darker also, because that is also a nano-res element, like a lot of those floating
particles.
stuff.
Right.
Okay. Now we come to the gameplay here that I think the combat with the AI have to be skill based.
Right.
So meaning that if you just bully the rain with the AI, that's not going to do much. The only good point is you have to see the glowing part. That's the weak point. Through the weak point, you can do a lot of things. And now come to the most important thing. Okay, I'm going to let this roll, and then we're going to talk about it.
Right. All right.
Okay, I'm going to pause here.
Yeah.
So, what you guys just seen here is a very important gameplay update. So we have to talk about the new iteration of the sync mechanic.
Of course.
Before in the first alpha test, the mechanic is really about that you're collecting nano energy, and then you're collecting the core chip. You combine them both, and somehow you have a nano.
Yeah.
Right. And this is a stretch in terms of how do we understand this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because there's two very abstract elements there. right? Nano energy is something that we don't even know what it is, right? As a player, we know what it is, but it's hard to understand, right? and courtship is also an idea that is very subtle.
Yeah.
Right. So the whole mechanic is about summon, basically. We think that is not really telling the story enough, and that shouldn't be the way it works. So what you guys just saw is you have to combat the elite. The elite was your enemy, right? You have to tame it, literally. That you shoot him and then find the opportunity to weaken them, so they will be on the ground and then in a weakened state. That is your window opportunity. That if you go close enough, you will be able to use your armband data and inject that data into this elite guy.
Okay, so your armband contains
the data,
sort of a source code that is able to hack the nano, the kind of the vessel nano that you downed.
Exactly.
And then that vessel nano transforms into the chip that you've looted.
Exactly.
And then you initiate the retransformation into the nano that you want to have.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is the nano elements are everywhere.
Right.
And especially in the shape of an elite nano.
Yes.
And once you tamed it, once you sync your data to its core, then the whole reforming and the reorganization and realignment of all those nano elements will form the nano you have.
That's amazing, because that is also utilizing the ability that, like the theme that nanos can take any form and shape.
Exactly. So I think the key thing here is the gameplay and environment and story have to work hand in hand, right?
Yes.
We talked about nano-res environment, all the marks in the world.
Yeah.
We also talk about the nano that they are one form of enemy, and we also have our own synced nano. So all those things is actually linked together.
Right.
And another very interesting thing for us is this is a very unique take of how PvPvE works. In a lot of different games that we talk about, oh, this game is about PvPvE, blah blah blah. But the problem is, when you're facing the player enemy and the AI enemy, the player enemy always win.
Yeah.
You have to deal with that problem first.
Yes.
And but when they both present, then this whole chaos of combat will happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's still cool moment, but in general, they're actually more problematic.
Right.
But in this one, the reason why we make the mechanics this way, we actually merged the PvP and PvE in a very elegant and organic way.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, depending on how do you pace the whole match, you should be encountering nanos first and then players later, and then kind of utilize both like PvE element that you just interacted with the PvP side of things.
Exactly.
And
exactly. So on here, that basically again, you have the full control of this nano.
Yep.
And as you guys might already imagine, we'll do the same for you.
Right.
Cool. And so it's a huge release, compared to you were combating the other enemy.
But
and now is interesting because other team is actually ambushing them.
Yeah.
And this is just showing how this sync nano mechanic can work in this kind of PvP environment that you can use the big guy. We've been talking through this screen, actually showing here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's basically how that works in the PvP.
Right.
And
then you can obviously imagine, right? We're gonna keep the video. We can keep the video on a loop just for fun. But one of the things that so this is basically sort of a showcase of what you would experience in the first 5 minutes of the game, or maybe 10, like depending on when do you see the first player.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is that yes, you are going to begin relatively slowly. You are going to grind your way through the nanos into the environment, and then once you should be equipped pretty early on to encounter other players and start fighting in a PvP battle. So it's not going to slow you down too much.
No, you won't. And actually, that makes the player's objective is actually more clearer in a way that if you don't have your nano yet, you know what your first job is. Yeah. Right. You have to tame a elite that you can transform it to the nano you want to have. Right. And then goes along with combating other players. So through every stage, you always know what you need to do.
Right. No, that's cool. I mean, again, you guys also didn't want to record the full match gameplay because we know how it looks like. I mean, we've recorded plenty, 21 to be exact, episodes of Dev-Diaries until this point, where we've showed and kind of dove into the actual gameplay of the game. Yeah. But this is the culmination. This is something that like the team is proud of, and they want to show the full fidelity of the game and how does the game begin, and then you go ahead and imagine different chips and imagine different scenarios and imagine different places in the world that you can utilize all of this, right? Like this is like this is like maybe kilometer by kilometer part of the map, and whole map is like huge, right? And so like this is just a slice, and this is going to be the final video of like our season 1 sort of like the diving deep into the alpha build of the game. And when we come back, we want to sort of dive deeper into the actual community feedback and work with the players together to kind of shape the game moving forward, because the game is approaching a state where a lot more players are going to be playing, and we are kind of ready to start taking in that feedback and building the game further down the line with the community, because the developers are basically kind of happy with the state of the game right now.
And also, add to that is in the near future that what we are working on are not only the PvP part of the game. Yeah, it's also PvE part of the game. Exactly. That have a very interesting take on how that mode can be. I'm not going to talk too much yet, and Gobo is working on it very hard. Yes. And when it's ready, I'm sure that we're gonna, have people to test it. Yeah. And see the feeling, and I'm sure that this whole intention of the PvE part is something that you're gonna play before. Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to it. And when we say the Synced is PvE game, we don't mean in one match you will see both PvP. Yes, you will. But there is also the PvE side of things and there is PvP side of things separately as well. Yeah. So you can, if you wish to take a break out of the whole PvP chaos, you can just jump into the PvE game mode and have fun, grind through, find out some lore, find out some gear, find out some progress in the meta, and then come back to the core PvE mode and utilize all those things that you earned. And also on top of that, I want to just very quickly mention that we are working on the whole narrative of the game. Right. And what we wanted to do is we need to plant the seed as much as possible that when the game shipped, we will be having enough space that for people to talk about the lore, talk about the whole narrative and the character, and even in the future, we should be able to have some dedicated single player or story-driven moments. Yes. That have you guys understand, okay, so that is what happened to those people. That's what happened to the Shinar station. Right. And who is the real bad guy behind the whole thing, all that. And at the end of the day, it's a new universe. Right. It's a new world that we want to build on this franchise that have tons of story can be told, tons of gameplay we can have, and tons of excitement that player will enjoy. Yeah, I mean, the best games are, leave you questioning a lot more than when you began. Yeah. But also you get answers down the line. Of course, and that's the whole point. I think the best storytelling is a storytelling that answers one question and then asks 10 others. Right? And that's something that is obviously the part of Synced. So. We'll just freeze it right here because it's a perfect moment. So I'm delighted to see this build, and I know that a lot of developers also have been enjoying this video, and it's been a hard work to get this done in time to show to everybody, and we're just happy to share this with everybody else now. Cool. So yeah, thank you so much, Clark, for all this time. No problem. Hopefully we will come back with another series where we are going to dive deeper into the actual co-development together with the players, because it's not only next to this making the game. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah. All right. It's been a pleasure, and we will see you guys in another time.